evening everyone and welcome to TTL F1. Yes, you've heard that right. This is League 2 moving forward for Season 17. Basically like TTSL, the format here tonight though. And of course I'm giving you the action here tonight. Of course, I'm James here, going to be taking you through the action of two 25% races with one shot qualifying for both races here tonight for the Challenge Cup event. And it's basically TTSL's version of a Challenge Cup event. And of course, we have now rebranded going forward into next season. It will be known as TTL F1 League 2. So, first of course, we are here in Australia, a track that is fabled and has always been the season opener out on the track in the calendar, in the F1 calendar, of course. And it is a street circuit, 10 corners to the right, 6 corners to the left, 16 corners in total. I'm just rushing through to get my track map for Australia, and I'll be able to give you more information about that very shortly indeed. 5.3 kilometre length track. And of course, the race is about 3 weeks away, actually, in real life as well. I think it's the 15th of March it actually goes on. 3 DRS straights, 3 DRS zones, 1 down the start-finish straight between turn 16 and turn 1, 1 down towards turns 2 and 3, and 1 down towards turn 12 and 13, respectively. And hopefully, as I say, the track out of the action out on track is going to be fantastic. I was meant to be joined by Paco Suarez, who was meant to be in the commentary box with me. He sadly had another engagement, so he will be joining me, however, next week and the week after for rounds 3, 4, 5 and 6 respectively for the Challenge Cup event. And you will see us live for the next 3 weeks, including tonight, for TTL F1 League 2, rebranded of course, as I say, for Season 17, which is going to be very exciting on paper indeed. Let me have a look at the comment section then, see how you guys are doing out on track. Good evening to Storm, good evening to Maze, and good evening to Key. They're all tuning in so far to the comment section. We've got 12 drivers currently here tonight, which is a bit of a poor turnout if I've got to be honest, but drivers are beginning to ready up. And as I say, it's one shot qualifying. A track of this around Australia, of course, it is a very mixed sort of track. The back end definitely does seem to kick out through turn 12, especially through turn 12 is where you're going to be wanting to watch the drivers. And also there's turn 5 if you can run out wide of the corner there. Turn 5 is also there. Turn 6 is a bit of a tricky one, and also down through turn 16. If you drop the back end through there, you will end up into the pit wall, and unfortunately you will lose some front wing and maybe even out of the race, like I have seen on few occasions here tonight. 13 drivers then currently. Oh, we've got 12 drivers now, as somebody has just left the session. Maximus has just came into the session then. Let me run you through then what cars everyone is in actually going forward into next season. Of course, these guys will be running in this season's cars from TTSL. So, on running down, we've got Passel's in the Renault. He is going to be joined in the Renault by TTG Maze, who I do believe is here tonight as well. There he is, just above me in fact. A couple of drivers actually losing connection here, so hopefully we'll be able to get underway very shortly indeed. Looking through the rest of the grid, Lord Hulton in the Williams, he is joined by Vax Viking in the Williams. In the Red Bull will be Conti, he's joined by Jeffrey in that. In the Alfa Romeo is Atlas Copo. He's going to be along. He's got no driver alongside him yet. So if there's any drivers that are out there that competed in TTSL this season and didn't and haven't signed up yet, do so, because I think it's absolutely fantastic. Alfa Romeo seat available, as there is another Mercedes seat as well. Max Viking in the Williams, as I say, with Lord Hulton. Storm is in the Racing Point. He is joined by Charlie in that Racing Point, so a very good lineup there for the Racing Point. And if you've been seeing in pre-season testing so far in 2020, Racing Point currently outscoring Ferrari in terms of lap times over 6 days of pre-season testing, which I think is absolutely phenomenal. Very similar to the Mercedes of last year, people are making that out as. McLaren, Mashiro, joined by Key tonight in the McLaren. In the Ferrari, we've got Daniil. He's also joined by Shumi in the Ferraris. And I think we've pretty much ran through everyone. Maximus is in the Mercedes. and looking through the Haas, Tom and Axnes. Hopefully I pronounced that right. That's what it says on my my driver sheet, so hopefully I pronounced that right. But you should be seeing those guys over the course of the next couple of weeks for the Challenge Cup, and indeed, as I say, for TTL F1 League 2, which will be hosted on a Friday night, of course. So get used to this, because we're going to be live pretty much 3 weeks of Challenge Cup, and then I think season of season 17. Absolutely fantastic stuff indeed. Hopefully then you guys are keeping well in the chat. Do keep me company, of course, in the chat. Do support any of your drivers that you do like, of course, out on track. We've only got 13 drivers here, but I will promise you now it makes for great racing, and I think the 13 drivers that we've got really are going to show why they are made for TTL F1. TTL F1 League 2. It's a bit of a mouthful to say, especially if you've had a cold drink down your... Yeah. But we are out into one-shot qualifying then. And of course, if you have been familiar with the TTSL format, it is basically just the same. Safety car, of course, is off for the racers currently, as they come out more than often. But we are about to get underway here for the Challenge Cup event, which I cannot wait for here tonight. While we load in with about 30 seconds to go, I'm just going to be back. I'll be back in 30 seconds. Beautiful blue skies here in Australia.
The weather at Melbourne is often unpredictable, making it difficult for the drivers and engineers alike to find the optimal setup.
So then, the drivers are readying up to complete their one-shot qualifying laps. And it will be really intriguing to see. I don't think there's a real favourite to take pole position here. I'm not going to make any predictions, actually, tonight for the Challenge Cup. But obviously, Will's been in Australia and then to China after this race. Hopefully we're going to see a very good one-shot qualifying session. We go on board then with Lord Hulton, the Norwegian, and this is going to be a lap on board, hopefully, with Lord Hulton down towards turn 1 we go. There is the mini-map there to follow the driver through the lap. Lord Hulton now through turn 2, opening up that DRS once again. Can catch about 195 mile an hour down here under the braking zone, just indeed measuring that above 195, looking good through the first sector so far, nice and tight into the apex there. A little bit slow for my liking, but Lord Hulton just missing the apex there, gets the best run out though. Mashiwa, Daniil and Jeffrey currently out on top as Passelt has retired from the session at 27.1 through the first sector for Lord Hulton, as now he is about to come up towards turn 8, and very tricky 90-degree corners await him now out on track. Through turn 9 and 10 then, and really running wide onto the grass there, Lord Hulton, and dropping down behind Key, Mashiwa, Jeffrey, Daniil, current TTSL champion, of course, Mashiwa, coming into tonight. See if he can continue up that good form. Lord Hulton through the middle sector, I think it was a 52.6 if I'm not mistaken. But Lord Hulton now coming around the final couple of corners now. Towards turn 14, very tricky. If you run off wide, you're pretty much going into the gravel there. Now through 15 and 16, catching the apex very nicely indeed. Lord Hulton looks like he's going to be on 4th position here. Through the final corner, Mashivo and Key, the two McLarens to the line. Let's see what lap times they've done. And it's a 21.4 for Mashivo, and not a bad lap that at all. Out on track, so it's Mashivo, Key, Daniil, your current top 3. We're just waiting for Atlas Coppo to come across the line. I think he might have had a moment somewhere out on track. Lord Hulton 4th, Jeffrey 5th, Conti in 6th, Vax Viking 7th, Mason 8th, Maximus in 9th. And I'll confirm the rest of the field just in a couple of seconds or so. So then, one-shot qualifying has been completed here in Australia. And it is Mashivo who has taken pole position with a 1/10.5 of a second gap over Key in second. So the two McLarens starting first and second. It's like old school Formula 1 this. Daniil in third with Lord Hulton in fourth. 6/10 separating the top 4, with Jeffrey in fact just in behind. 6/10 separating the top 5, with Conti in 6th. So the two Red Bulls start on the third row of the grid. Vax Viking 7th, Mason 8th, Maximus interestingly on a set of medium compound of tyres in 9th, and the Mercedes, Charlie in 10th, Atlas Coppo completing the lap clearly messed up somewhere out on track, a 140 wall flat. Passel's no time set, and Storm getting the disqualification, probably, I would imagine, coming through the section of turns 11 and 12, where you can run through turn 11 a little bit too much onto the curb. If you overrun the curb slightly, it does give you an invalidation on your lap, and I think Storm might have picked it up there. I might be mistaken. It's a bit of a guessing game, to be honest, with other drivers. Of course, we were only on board with Lord Hulton there. Of course, if you do want to show any support for our drivers out on track, or if you've just came to pay me a visit, then that's even better, because these drivers will require your support out on track. And 15 laps await us here in Australia. Who are your favourites? Do show your support, as I say, in the comments section, and like, comment and subscribe if you are brand new to TTL F1 or to TTTV. Like, comment, subscribe, and tick that notification bell. Of course, 386 subscribers we are on currently. Let's hope we can get that up to 400 within the next couple of weeks. Even before the mini league, I think we can get to 400 subscribers. So, men, Mashiro out on the formation lap. We've just begun the formation lap here, so if you are just tuning in, grab yourself a seat, because we are about to get underway for TTL F1 League 2. And yes, you're reading the title right, because we have rebranded for next season. So Mashiro currently out on top, and he's the defending TTSL champion. And before I forget, thank you very much to Malc for taking you through last week's season finale in last week in TTSL. A fantastic race by all stretch of the imagination. We had two races, of course, and Mashiro came out on top to win the championship. Unfortunately, my connection gave in on Thursday. That's why I couldn't make it, and I do apologise. Mashiro clearly getting on with things, getting on with things a little bit too much there. Let's have a look then further down the field and see what the strategies are for the drivers out on track. Medium compound of tyres then for Maximus, Atlas Copal and Passels. Maximus, remember, qualified on that set of medium compound of tyres, so they are going to be more worn than the fresh set of mediums compared to Atlas Copal and Passels, who were running in 11th and 12th position. Down at the back of the field, Storm, he came in the comment section and said that it was a turn 1 invalidation. Turn 1, of course, is one of those corners that if you just dip two wheels over onto the grass, slightly in over the curb, then you completely mess up your lap. Who are your predictions then? Let's have a look. Who are your predictions then? Hopefully you are predicting the top 3 in the comments section. I will do mine now, and I'll say I think Mashiro will win. I think Consi will finish 2nd, and I think Maximus will finish 3rd. So going for a bit of a wild and wacky prediction, as you're probably used to seeing now. Charlie has already joined onto the grid, and I think we've got the final couple of cars now joining onto the grid now. Passels, Maximus and Storm, that is, joining on to the back of the field. So we're just moments away from TTL F1 League 2 about to begin. And the two McLarens, of course, on the front row of the grid. Can Daniil get a good start? Can Lord Hulton get a good start? We're about to go then for 5 red lights here in Australia. And it's lights out and away we go. Mashiro gets a very good start. Key with a very average start as well. So both pretty much going to be side by side down into turn 1. Key on the inside line. Mashiro around the outside line and holds the lead. So the Japanese man round the outside holding the lead. Everyone is clean through turn 1. The Williams is dropping down a couple of positions there. That was Vax Viking further down the field. But Mashiro down into turn 3 for the first time. Leads the way as that is Lord Hulton trying to go up the inside of Daniil. Just puts him off slightly and the Ferrari man is through. So Daniil holds on to that 3rd position from Lord Hulton, but look at the gap. The front two have got the two McLarens are racing away through the first sector, and it's Mashiro who leads by 5/10 of a second. Non settling down, very clean throughout. Daniil now in 3rd, Lord Hulton 4th, Jeffrey 5th, Conti in 6th, Mays in 7th. Look at the Renault right on the back now. Launching it down the inside. Oh, a little bit of contact there between Mace. I think that's an end plate damage as well. May not necessarily have gone for that move, and it's carnage in the background. Atlas Copo, and I think Passel's might have just been caught up in that as well. Not sure what happened there. Hopefully the stewards will be able to have a look at that one. In the meantime, Vax Viking was trying to make a move there on Charlie. Further down the field, Charlie's actually got past him, and the racing point is around the outside into 9th position. Still making up good progress through the field early, but towards the end of lap 1, on here, and it's Mashiro who leads, and the defending TTSL champion leads the way. 1.4 seconds, pretty much the gap coming around the final corner from Key in second. So the two McLarens lead across the line. Mashiro sets a new fastest lap of the race, of course, with them being out in front. On settling down, a relatively clean lap 1. Charlie in the background just trying to get onto the back of Storm, and he's 8 tenths off actually, so my timing's playing up there slightly. Maze and Atlas Copel are both into the pit lane, and I'm sure they'll be able to go to the end of the race because they're just pending on lap 1, and with them being a 25% race, they don't have to rely that much on the tyres. But Mashiro has got the break early. Key, can he unlock himself? I wonder, just a little bit of lag picking up. I do apologise about that, but Key right on the back of Mashiro. It's 1.2 seconds the gap. Daniil in third, Lord Hulton giving Daniil something to think about in third and fourth at this stage, and the Williams car right on the back of Daniil, and I think actually Daniil might have left side end plate damage. I'm not sure if you can read that on the thingy. No, that's just my eyesight completely going awry there. Daniil is, oh, and he's lost it! Daniil's lost it and he's out of the race! Daniil has lost it, catching the curve on the exit of turn 12, and Daniil is out of the race, and it's the first retirement. And I'm really not going to rely on anything else, but I think more drivers will lose it there during the course of the race. It is a very difficult corner, turn 12, and Daniil sadly out of the race, getting caught on the outside of turn 12. Unfortunate for the Ferrari man, and he was well within the points, of course, running in third, just ahead of Lord Hulton at the time. And it's Mashiro then who has set the new fastest lap of the race, and it's 1.5 seconds clear as they come across in towards turn 3 once again. DRS of course enabled on this lap, and it's Mashiro who leads. Let's have a look further down the field though, as Maximus, on the medium compound tyres, coming under a little bit of pressure from Storm and Charlie, so the two racing points beginning to get into this. And let's ride on board then with Storm as he closes in on Maximus. And let's have a look at the position changes early on as well. There are the position changes from a dramatic first couple of laps. We're pretty much halfway through lap 3 at this stage. It's Mashiro who leads, Key in second, Lord Hulton third, Jeffrey in fourth, Conti in fifth. What you're on board with though is Storm trying to chase down Maximus, and in fact Charlie is beginning to chase down his teammate as well. Charlie just running slightly out wide through turn 9 now into turn 10, but Storm trying to get closer to Maximus. I don't think he'll use up the DRS this lap around. He will definitely not be close enough unless Maximus makes a mistake, which he doesn't. He runs over the curb slightly, as does Storm. Goodness me, Storm having a right moment now to turn 12, just going to feather the throttle and not try and take the chicane flat out like some drivers decide to. Parcells is on the back of Viking further down the field, so most of the action actually happening further down the field at this stage. Lap 4 about to begin. Mashiro just comes across the line there from Key in second, Lord Hulton third, Jeffrey in fourth, as Storm is into the pit. So Storm into the pits, clearly feels them set of softs can't last him that long, and this could be a good strategy actually, because I think he can go on a set of mediums for 11 laps and get there quite comfortably towards the end of the race. In the meantime, we'll cut back on board with Parcells, who's on the back of Vaxbike, and the Belgian trying to chase down the Norwegian here down towards turn 3. Parcells not close enough, and Parcells has actually kept it quite clean. He's made up a couple of positions early on, 3 positions in fact he has gained. Storm had 6 positions gained before he came into the pits. He will be out, he's just about to come out the pit lane now on the mini wrap there, and he's going to get well ahead out of Maze. So Storm currently looking like he's on for a possible mid-top 5, I would think, hopefully. Mashiro still leads though, Key in second, Lord Hulton third, Jeffrey in fourth, but now with the pressure from his teammate as Conti begins to get a little bit closer. Conti, of course, has shown signs of brilliance in TTSL last season, as Jeffrey just nearly loses the car out of turn 12. Conti then right on the back, going to have a bit of a half look down in towards turn 13, not going to be quite close enough though. But the 2 Red Bulls, I don't think there'll be any team orders here, but Conti right on the back of Jeffrey, and the 2 Dutchmen beginning to fight it out for 4th and 5th position. And I think that might have been Lord Hulton coming into the pits with that. Nope, Lord Hulton was just going through around the final corner. Everyone's still continuing then, and we're third of the way through. It is lap 5 out of 15, and it's Mashiro who leads from Key in second, Lord Hulton third, Jeffrey in 4th, Conti in 5th, Maximus in 6th, Charlie in 7th. Let's ride back on board with Parcells, who was trying to chase down back to Viking through turn 1. Don't think he's going to be close enough though down in towards turn 3. However, he's got the DRS enabled, and in fact he's not using up any of that ERS. So Parcells now still in 9th position. Back on board then with Conti in his hunt to try and chase down Jeffrey at this stage. Of course, the two Dutchmen 4th and 5th currently. Of course, Red Bull going with the pairing once again in 2020 of Max Verstappen and Alexander Albon. And Red Bull have been showing signs of brilliance. In terms of pre-season testing in 2020 so far, they have shown that they are the second best team currently on the grid. I don't lie about that. It is on the F1 Twitter if you do want to check that out. Conti right on the back of Jeffrey though, coming through turn 12 again, and Jeffrey getting a much better run out that time. Conti just running wide onto the grass slightly. A little bit of an overspeed through the corner there. Passel's then trying to chase down Vax Viking. Passel's not really close enough to have an opportunity here at Vax Viking, who just goes slightly wide onto the curb, but Passel's now beginning to hunt him down. Of course, these two are on different strategies. Passel's on a set of mediums. Vax Viking on a set of softs, and it is in fact Vax Viking that comes into the pit. So might be going in for a bit of an undercut on the cars ahead. Charlie and Maximus could be prone here. Maximus especially going a little way longer into the race, and I think he'll be up into the lead of the race very soon indeed. But lap 6 out of 15, Mashiro leads, and a beautiful helicopter cam on board with the papaya coloured McLaren. Of course, going for the more orange colour, the McLaren this year in 2020. And the McLaren's currently dominating 1 and 2 here. It's Mashiro from Key, Lord Hulton in 3rd. There's Jeffrey in 4th. The Storm sets a new fastest lap of the race at the 24.8 out on a set of mediums. Vax Viking comes out ahead of Storm. Just having a look at the mini-map there, it's about 1.1 seconds coming down towards turn 3. And Storm not close enough to try and close in on them. Conti's still hunting down as there's a spinner in the background. That is Maximus that is off. I think he might have just tried to throttle it through turn 10, and he's lost the back end through there. And I think Maximus has lost a little bit of end plate damage as well. I think his left side end plate might be gone. Looks damaged, but it looks still intact. Full end plate nearly intact there. So the left side end plate, I think, might have just gone as the leader is in. So Mashiro is into the pits. Key is not into the pits. He continues on for another lap. There's still quite a few actually going around out on track. Conti then is into the pits. So the Red Bull is going to try and undercut his teammate here. Conti into the pits. Mashiro, of course. Don't worry about the strategies, by the way. If you're expecting these drivers to go on a set of hards at this early stage in the race, don't worry. It is only a 25% race that we've got for you here tonight. And of course, we have got China as well for you coming up after this one. But Key leads the way from Lord Hulton in 2nd. Jeffrey in 3rd. From Charlie in 4th. Passel's now 5th. With Maximus in 6th, who's still yet to come into the pits after that spin through turn 10. Mashiro trying to close in on him, but in the meantime we're going to cut on board with a battle for net position, and this currently is for net battle for P4, I make that as Vax Viking tries to close in on Storm. Having a look at the leader's time, it's 35 seconds the gap between Key and Storm at this stage of the race. Lord Hulton, I think, has made a mistake somewhere out on track. I'm not sure where he might have made that, and I think it might have been actually just before turn 8, and Lord Hulton taking it quite easily, and he's lost his lifestyle end plate. So clearly whatever has happened to Lord Hulton, he's going to have to get that car around in one piece. He's got Patel chasing him down. Mashiro trying to close in on Maximus as well, and Maximus is in the wall and out. Maximus in the wall and out. You saw a flash of grey to the right hand side there, and Maximus is out of the race and loses it through turn 12. I think he had a bit of front wing damage anyways, so that car would have been more difficult to control as the front 3 are in. Vax Viking then now under pressure from Storm, and Storm looking like he's got the pace here on Vax Viking. Just going to have to wait though till the start-finish straight. Storm actually just runs a little bit wide there. Parcells now leads the way. Mashiro now into 2nd, but he is in a net lead of the race as Key is just about to come out of the pit. And in fact, Key has lost a lot of time by going that extra lap, and he's about 5 seconds off coming out of the pits. In the meantime though, what we'll ride on board with, Lord Hulton coming out the pits there, but Vax Viking and Storm are just gone out behind Charlie. So Charlie has actually undercut his teammate there. Storm right on the back of Vax Viking. We've got a little bit of gaps breaking out. We've got battles breaking out everywhere. Storm now switches to the inside line, trying to go for the inside move at turn 3. Not going to quite close that off, and he actually just runs over the grass slightly. Jeffrey then under pressure from Conti, and this is currently for a net 3rd position out on track. The 4th and 5th currently out on track, the 2 Red Bulls, and they're going very strong, as I say. Jeffrey and Conti, 2 Dutchmen of course, coming through turns 9 and 10 once again. If you are just tuning in to TTTV here tonight, it is TTL F1 League 2. Yes, don't adjust your glasses or anything like that, because it is a brand new title for next season for the rebrand, and that's why we are running this as TTL F1 League 2 instead of TTSL, which of course you did see on a Friday night. And TTSL, very popular, and we have got a majority of the drivers, as I say, from TTSL here tonight competing out on track, and you will be seeing these guys over the next 3 weeks as well for the Challenge Cup, including tonight, and then of course for the new season start in 3 weeks time from now. Yes, 2 weeks time will be the final round of the Challenge Cup, 3 weeks will be the start of the brand new season, season 17, TTL F1 League 2. Much better to try and run a try and tested format and to try something new, I think, on a Friday night. Back spiking right on the pressure then from Storm, and the racing point now closer this time. Is Storm going to try and have a lunge down the inside? I don't think he's actually got the closing speed, and in fact doesn't use any ERS down the straight. Back to Viking then, holding the position for now, but Storm evidently looks, I think, a bit quicker currently out on track. And of course Storm recently added to the TTG team and is now coming through towards turns 5 and 6 here. Sorry, that is turn 6 he's just coming through, now through 7 and 8, and then coming up towards the chicane at turns 9 and 10. Of course, this track is a purpose-built street circuit, so you would normally see lorries, buses, cars going around here. A little bit of tap of the wall though actually from Storm. Luckily it was the rear of the car and not the front end plate. Passel's now beginning to get closed down by Mashiro, and I think Passel's might actually jump ship and come into the pits this lap, and that's exactly what he'll do. Getting pressurised, doesn't want to hold up Mashiro any longer, so Mashiro now freed. As typical, Storm gets a move done on Vax Viking. So Storm clearly having the run there through turn 12. Clearly missed that on the stream, but Storm has got the move done, and he's up into 7th position. In fact, that is up to 6th position, I think, because Passels is coming out of the pits now. Storm will be past him, Charlie will be past him, and I think Storm and Vax Viking will also be past him as well. Yeah, they're just coming out of the pits. You'll see Passels on the left-hand side of your screen, and he's going to come out about 3, maybe 4 seconds behind this battle for 6th and 7th currently out on track. Conti then trying to close down on Jeffrey. Conti obviously had to go off that extra lap because his teammate pitted in a lap earlier than him. That's why you're seeing Jeffrey with about a second gap now. It's still quite consistent, and it's still quite a consistent gap currently between these two. The Red Bulls trying to chase down Key, who I think has got the key for second. I don't think you'll be seeing the McLarens change any sort of position at all. Let's have a ride on board then with some of the penalties that have been picked up, and really tell who has been corner cutting and who hasn't. Mashiro has got 2 warnings so far. Key has got nothing, which is good to see. Jeffrey as well got nothing. Conti has got 1 warning, and there he is in the background trying to chase down Jeffrey. Charlie then is up into 5th, and I think, have we had a retirement out of the race? No, we haven't. Storm into 6th then, and he's still on 2 warnings. Nothing for Vax Viking, 2 warnings for Passels, 1 warning for Lord Holton, nothing for me, so I don't think actually anybody's got a 3-second time penalty yet, which is very good indeed. So it is Jeffrey and Conti then for 3rd and 4th position, and I'm getting myself confused here because Passels obviously came into the pits, and that's why I thought somebody had crashed out the race. Don't worry, I hope I didn't get anyone excited. Mashiro then leads by 5.6 seconds. The battle you are on board with though, as I'll cut to Passels and Vax Viking in just a second. Conti on the back of his teammate Jeffrey, and Conti just trying to get a better run out compared to his teammate there. But Conti right on the back of Jeffrey. Let's ride on board then with Passels, who's looking to try and hunt down back to Viking. I'm just going to send a quick message. I'll be back in about 30 seconds. So Storm picking up a 3-second time penalty there. Passels is still trying to chase down Vax Viking currently out on track, and there's not really been any sort of overtakes out on track except from Storm on Vax Viking earlier on. There's not really been many overtakes to actually write home about. Passels then right on the back of Vax Viking. You could probably only see this going one way, and the Belgian looking a lot quicker here than the Norwegian. Out the final corner, Vax Viking now under pressure from Passels, and look at the closing speed from the Renault. Is he going to try and lunge it down the inside? He's going to have to force it down the outside, and actually Vax Viking makes two moves there. That was one to position the car and one to defend the position. Entitled to do that, but he switched from the inside to the outside, which I think might need looking at. But Passels not going to get past Vax Viking any time soon. He might actually try and go for it down towards turn 13, and Vax Viking actually now beginning to pull away slightly as Passels just begins to use up that, just save up that ERS in fact. Back on board with the battle for third. The two Red Bulls looking quite consistent. Jeffrey and Conti currently out on track. It is, constructors-wise, McLaren 1-2, Red Bull 3-4, and Racing Point 5-6 currently out on track, if you haven't noticed. And Vax Viking and Lloyd Hunter the 7th and 9th, and the Williams, Passels and Mays are 10th and 8th and 10th, respectively, in the Renaults as well. Wow. Constructors game really coming into play here. Passels right on the back then of Vax Viking in towards turn 14 once again. Oh, Vax Viking actually just switching to the outside line, trying to get a deeper run out. Passels on the inside line there, gaining time. Just looked a little bit unsure there whether to go for the move, but Vax Viking now under pressure. This is Passels' chance to pass, but is Passels going to try and get past him? He's a lot closer this time around, and Vax Viking making no object to try and go down the inside here. Passels, oh, very close, and it's still side by side. Traction would favour Passels, though. He's now on the inside line, and I think he's going to get the cross on the line safely. He does. He got caught on the grass there slightly. It was a little bit touch and go, but Passels has got the move done, and he's through into 7th position. Now he can focus, hopefully, to try and chase down Storm. Hopefully he'll be able to gain that gap out. But the two Red Bulls now down in towards turns 9 and 10, beginning to get quite heated between these two, Jeffrey and Conti. Mashiwo and Key still lead the way, of course. We're about to go on to the penultimate lap of the race. The leader is just coming through turn 13 there. It is Mashiwo who leads from Key in second, but now Jeffrey and Conti. Conti taking that, feathering through the throttle there through the chicane, and now Jeffrey under pressure like never been seen before. Jeffrey is under pressure now from Conti, and the two Red Bulls obviously have had a history together of performing very well and driving consistently. Not so much in real life, where we had Max Verstappen and Daniel Ricciardo in Baku crashing out of the race, and that famous battle of course in 2018 as Conti tries to close in on Jeffrey, and I think team orders clearly out of plumb there, and Conti is through on Jeffrey, and he's through up to P3. Don't think, if I've got to be honest on that, I don't think that was the right move, because Conti, I don't feel, was the quicker driver at that stage. I think Jeffrey was going to have him down into turn 1, hold the gap towards turn 3, and then pressurise Conti into making a mistake, maybe. That's what should have been done, but again, I'm just complaining probably over nothing, to be honest. Mashiwo leads the way then, and they're halfway through the penultimate lap of the race, and there is our leader currently, TTSL defending champion, and you could say TTL F1 League 2 defending champion as well, if you want to put it within the rebrand. He's now coming around the final couple of corners now. Mashiwo really looking on top here. He's going to start the final lap of the race with about a 5.6 second lead. It's been totally dominant from the Japanese man, who of course raced in his home race last night in TTL F1. And it was actually a very good race last night in TTL F1. We had a lot of good action. Karlsberg, of course, winning that one and really triumphing himself into the championship picture for TTL F1. Conti then, still under pressure from Jeffrey. Jeffrey trying to close up. 6.5 turns separating. Charlie has just been overtaken there by Storm. So Storm, on worse off tyres, is up to 5th position. I think Charlie might have made a slight mistake there. There's no end plate damage. We're on to the final lap then, and it is Mashiwo who leads the way from Key in second. Conti in third. Jeffrey, though, right on the back of Conti. Can the Dutchman reclaim third position from his teammate out on track tonight? Of course, we've got China still to come after this one, using the same format, one-shot qualifying and a 25% race. But Jeffrey is all over the back now of Conti, and Conti looks like he is a sitting duck at this stage. trying then to get past him down towards turns 9 and 10. Gets caught in the sausage curb, but gets a very good and lengthy run out there. Conti then. Jeffrey is going to try maybe to go around the outside into turn 11 and 12. It's not going to be close enough though, and I think Conti has actually got a much better run out there compared to Jeffrey. Jeffrey trying to maintain his tyres, but that was a poor run out of the corner. In the meantime, Mashivo coming around the final couple of corners, and Mashivo, the McLaren man, the Japanese man, takes it here for round 1 of the Challenge Cup in Australia, and he's very happy with that one. Key coming across the line in second, completes a McLaren 1-2 and sets fastest lap of the race as well to boot. Conti then will hold third as Jeffrey has spun at the final corner and is out of the race. Jeffrey, have you ever seen something like it? Jeffrey is out of the race, and that promotes the 2 racing points. Storm and Charlie up to 4th and 5th. Passel's from unlikely 6th as well. He drove a very good race. Max Viking across the line in 7th. Drama here then at the final corner for Jeffrey, who is out of the race and won't score any points at all. Mays coming around the final corner now as Jeffrey's Red Bull is just strewn halfway across the track, and it's still moving. It's just been removed there, and Mays comes across the line to finish in 9th. Atlas Copel got lapped and he finished in 11th position. Drama then on the final lap. Drama at the beginning, drama at the end, but not for Mashiro. The Japanese man takes round 1 of the Challenge Cup. And there is the Japanese man going to the top step of the podium. A phenomenal drive once again, a dominant drive as well from the 2 McLarens, with Mashiro and Key finishing 1st and 2nd. Conti inheriting 3rd. I think he would have got it anyways. Jeffrey just trying to throttle it through the final corner to try and get the move done. To try and get the run out of the corner and to try and pressurise Conti, but never going to work. Conti finishing in P3. And there is your podium celebrations over and done with. Of course, China's still to come. And it is Mashiro who takes it. He had a 3-second time penalty, but that didn't worry him at all. Key finishes in 2nd, sets the new fastest lap of the race as well. He was one of the only drivers actually to get into the 24s, one of 3 drivers only to get into the 24s. Conti then finishing in 3rd, Storm in 4th, a good drive from him, a good recovery from him. Charlie in 5th, Passel's in 6th, back to Viking in 7th, the 2 Williams are 7th and 8th, in fact, with the Lord Hulton just in behind his teammate. Mays in 9th, Jeffrey unfortunately not finishing in 10th. And Atlas Copel, he got lapped, but he still finished as a human car, and he finished there in 11th position and didn't lose any positions as a result. He pitted in to try and set the new fastest lap of the race, which didn't come to back because Key beat him on a set of medium compound of tyres on the final lap of the race. We've got then China still to come. What did you guys make of that one? Let your opinions be known then in the comment section. If you are liking the commentary so far, do like, comment and subscribe to the channel while you are at it as well. Let's have a look then at some of the comments that have come through as a result of round 1, and looking at some of the drivers. Will Siege, Lyronic, Sinclair and Alan Kay etc. be returning to TTSL? I'm under the impression currently, and take my word for it, I'm under the impression currently that none of those guys will be returning. I think Siege will definitely be returning to TTL F1, League 1, so that'll be on Thursday night. But whether or not Lyronic, Sinclair and Alan Kay return remains to be seen. Hopefully, as I say, we'll see some good action still out on track. And GG to Mashiro and GG as well to everyone there out on track. Storm saying well done to the podium finishers. A good drive actually from Storm, from right down on the back of the field from 13th up to 4th. A very good drive indeed. Hopefully you can reclaim that once again. We're just getting set up then within the lobby. And of course, there are the points finishers. Key, of course, scoring that extra point, so he's on 19 points. And that pretty much is the championship standings for the Challenge Cup. Mashiro on 25, Key on 19, Conti on 15, Storm on 12, Charlie on 10, Passels on 8, Max Viking on 6, Lord Hulton on 4, Mays on 2 and Jeffrey on 1 point. Daniil has just jumped back into the session. He disappeared for about 20-30 seconds or so, but he is back into the session and we should be getting going very shortly indeed for round 2 of the Challenge Cup. And remember, next week we do go for rounds 3, 4, and I will be joined by a very special guest indeed who you've never seen on TTTV before. Well, you have seen him probably driving on TTTV before, but you haven't seen him in the commentary box. So I'm very excited to announce that Paco Suarez will be joining me next week and the week after for the Challenge Cup, and I'm looking forward to sharing the commentary box and his expertise with me in the commentary box next week as well. But until then, we've got China still to go up. Of course, a race that has been cancelled in real life due to the ongoing outbreak of the coronavirus, and it has been confirmed today in Europe anyways. The European cases of coronavirus are now exceeding those in China. So it seems like the Chinese are beginning to contain the virus, but now because it is beginning to spread, it has now moved over to Europe. Don't be concerned. If I give you the best piece of advice, wash your hands, keep a good hygiene routine, and you should be fine. You will not catch coronavirus unless you're an old man or woman or you have an underlying health condition. And do follow any advice if you are going to be travelling within the next couple of weeks or so. Do follow any advice from the government. Never thought I'd be saying that over the stream, but it's best to get many people as possible involved and aware of the going outbreak of coronavirus. But as I say, China not on the calendar this season, reduced to 21 races in 2020. Vietnam, however, and Bahrain still going to be going ahead apparently. And Marrakesh, I know, is going ahead tomorrow for Formula E, and I can't wait to watch that later tomorrow. But we're just seconds away then from one-shot qualifying, and once again we go on board with probably one of our favourite Norwegians here in TTL F1 League 2, and it is Lord Hulton, who's had a very good qualifying, of course, in Australia, running off in the top 5, and now through turn 1 you'll probably get a bit of epileptic fit with the left-hand side. Just avoid the left-hand side for a bit, because there'll be a lot of changes coming out on track. Lord Hulton then coming down towards the end of the first sector through a 24.1. Right on, just taking the inside of the curve, very nice. That actually promotes them just into the lead of qualifying there. Kima, Shiro and Storm. So take now this very flat out S section now into a very tricky and tight middle sector. Now through turns 9 and 10, this double left-hander, two 90-degree corners coming up side by side of each other pretty much. And Lord Hulton getting through there without a problem at all. Alice Copo and Passel currently fighting it out down at the bottom of the field. 51.8 then from Lord Hulton through the middle sector. Now through a very tricky off-banked camber corner. And Lord Hulton now through the hairpin, 180 degrees through. Now to one of the longest straights, over a kilometre long this straight, down towards turns 15, I think this is, coming down towards this corner. Lord Hulton then down towards the right-hander, looking very good indeed. And then through the final couple of corners, that kink is counted as a corner. Now through the final corner, Jeffrey is out of the session. And she will then, I think, is going to take pole position once again. It looks very tight though in between, and it does look very tight. We'll give you the rundown of one-shot qualifying in just a second or so. But Hulton now getting 4th in qualifying. How did everyone else get on? You're about to find out. It is Mashiro who took it by over 0.2 of a second with a 1:31.5. And again, it's a McLaren 1-2. Key, who has really caught himself up within the last 2 months or so. Key has really developed himself as a driver and he's gotten second again. Storm with a much improved qualifying in 3rd. Could be a favourite to win this. Lord Hulton in 4th, Daniil in 5th, Maximus in 6th, Charlie in 7th. Less than 9/10 separate in the top 7, with Mays in 8th, Consi in 9th, Vax Viking in 10th. I think Passels was 11th, and I'll have to apologise, Jeffrey was down there in 13th. I'm not sure who was down there in 12th. I'll confirm that in just a second or so. So then, one-shot qualifying has ended. We're about to get going once again for 15 laps again here in China. It is a very tricky track, of course. The Chinese Grand Prix, as I said earlier on, cancelled in real life as a result of the coronavirus. But we are about to get going. The final couple of drivers then readying up out on track, readying up their setups. Let's have a look then at your comments that are coming through. Isn't the race in China suspended because of the coronavirus? It is indeed, yes. So well done for pointing out that. I think I mentioned it as soon as I did that. Does the PS4 have the masks on as well? They don't, I'm afraid. I don't think the PS4s out in China do have any masks on. I think the advice is to self-isolate more than anything else. Self-isolate for 14 days and don't come into contact with anyone else. I think that is the advice. By the way, the driver's Shiro leading us round once again. The Japanese man who's only had to come a couple of 100 miles from Japan and he's now in China once again to race here and hopefully maybe pick up a second. There is a lot of lag picking up and I'm not sure if it is actually from Mashiro who has got going once again. I'm not sure. Have we got a horse? As Mashiro and Key now come around the final couple of corners, and it is actually my connection that is not that great at this moment in time, so somebody is clearly using up the Wi-Fi downstairs. But in the meantime, coming around, and strategies wise, I don't think I really have to go into much strategy, to be honest. Atlas Copo and Jeffrey going on some medium compound of tyres. They're starting of course in the middle of the 3 compound of tyres that are available. You should see them pit around lap 8. Soft compound of tyres, you should see the first pit stops happening from around lap 5 to lap 6 out on track as Mashiro then comes around the final couple of corners. A non-lagging Mashiro now coming around the final 2 corners now. Is now through the final corner and we're about to come onto the starting grid once again. Here are your predictions for then here out on track. Hopefully the racing is going to be as competitive as what we saw in Australia. We should be seeing the final cars coming onto the grid very shortly indeed. As the final now cars join onto the grid, Jeffrey just joined onto the back there, and we're about to get going once again. It is a McLaren front row once again. The 5 red lights then about to go out for round 2 of the Challenge Cup, and it is the very long lights and away we go. Mashiro gets a much better start this time around. Key is going to be halfway alongside him then towards turn 1, but Mashiro's got the run through turn 1. Oh, and Key actually breaks early for the corner, has gone into the back there of Maximus, I think, causing a little bit of a Constantino effect. Don't think there's any front wing damage on that Mercedes in the meantime, but Mashiro leads, still up the inside, going through the first couple of corners, and he's through up the second. Key in third, Maximus 4th, Charlie in 5th, Jeffrey is round in the background through turn 3, so Mashiro then leads down towards the end of the first sector through turn 5, and Jeffrey has retired out of the race, out on track. Unfortunately for him, not a great day at the office. Mashiro then leads the way through the S section for the first time. We'll have a look further down the field as Conti tries to go around the outside of Daniil. Oh, and actually taps him. Lags into the back of him then. Daniil comes across him and Conti makes contact with Daniil. Daniil unsettled the car and Conti has taken out Vax Viking and has nearly caught out Atlas Copo as well. Not sure what the Dutchman is actually thinking there. I don't think any of that was on purpose, but the stewards will definitely have a look at that one. A lot of carnage here again on lap 1. Of course, the drivers have got to take it careful as Key is spun at the hairpin. Key is round at the hairpin, and I can't believe this. 2 races pretty much split apart, and it's Mashiro leading down towards turn 13 once again, and he leads the way side by side in the background now. Charlie trying to go down the inside of Maximus. Oh, a little bit of contact there, but I think Maximus will have to hold around the outside line. He's now on the inside line now, through into the final corner. Charlie trying to go around the outside. Maximus taking a little bit slow on the inside. It's going to give Mays a good run, and actually Mays has got past Charlie, so Mays giving up a free position there. And he's up into 4th position as Daniil, Vax Viking and Conti are all coming into the pits in the background. A shot there. A very dramatic lap 1. It's not what you like to see. We like to see, of course, clean and competitive racing here in TTL F2, TTL F1 League 2, and of course in the Challenge Cup. Because it's only a Challenge Cup, the drivers have got to treat it like it is a league race, I think. But Mashiro leads out Mashiro leads out in front, I should say. Storm in second. Maximus now in third with Maze in fourth. Charlie in fifth. Lord Hulton in sixth. Passel's in seventh. Key, after that spin, he's in P8 with Atlas Corpo in P9. Daniil is out of the pits in P10. And on cold compounded tyres there, just trying to get a bit of heat into the tyres. I think not the best thing to do. Back to Viking down in 11th and Conti down in 12th. Battle for the lead then. What you all want to see. Storm right on the back of Mashiro. Mashiro getting a much better exit out of the final, out of the hairpin there. And now running down the straight once again towards turn 13. Of course, Mill DRS enabled this lap around. Storm right on the back then of Mashiro, 5.5 tenths currently out on track. Passels is going side by side then with Lord Hulton. Has the Belgian got the speed on the Norwegian? Norwegian breaks later and Passels just switches back in. Maybe waiting for the DRS next lap around as Lord Hulton stays in 6th position. Mashiro then leads the way at the final corner. Once again through turn 15, and Storm has set the new fastest lap and is actually bettered by 2 tenths of a second by Maximus there. So Maximus with the new fastest lap of the race, the 1:35.4 I think that was out on track. Mashiro then leads the way from Storm in second. As I have to take a drink because my voice is beginning to go. Storm right on the back then of Mashiro down towards turns and towards turn 5 again. Now coming through the S section. Coming towards the S section now. Mashiro leads the way by 5 tenths of a second. Japanese man looking to create back-to-back wins here in the Challenge Cup. Storm will give him something to think about. And I've got to be honest, Maximus is absolutely flying in behind, beginning to bridge that gap up very readily indeed. 2 seconds the gap, it was 2.4 at the beginning of this one, and Maximus beginning to show the pace of that Mercedes, and he's actually dropped Maze and Charlie in behind as well. So Maximus is on an absolute charge coming through the field. Passel trying to go down the inside of Lord Hulton there, not going to quite pull it off as Storm just about gets the inside line. Through the hairpin he goes, and now Mashiro might be a setting duck running down the straight. Storm then right on the back of Mashiro, running down the straight again. Storm looking to the inside line. Mashiro an absolute sitting duck down the straight. Storm then down the inside line. Can he get the lead of the race? Just contacts the wing plate there of Mashiro, but nothing he can do about that one. Storm is always going to get the move done, and he's through, and the Brit is up to the lead of the race. Mashiro might feel hard done by, but sadly I don't think anything was to blame for that one. Storm getting a clean move done, little bit of end plate contact there, but Storm leads the way as Mashiro's in second, Maximus in third, Maze in fourth, Charlie in fifth. Charlie right on the back actually of Maze, coming now through turn 3 and now towards turn 4. And Maze coming through here very nicely indeed out on track as Storm has just been overtaken by Mashiro. I'm not sure what happened there. I'm not sure if Storm has actually let through Mashiro. I think that was probably the likeliest case out of that. So, don't think Storm was obliged to overtake. Mashiro was not obliged to overtake Storm there at all. So Storm has let through Mashiro for the lead of the race, it seems. We're halfway through lap 4, and it is Mashiro who leads. Storm in second, Maximus third, Maze in fourth, Charlie in fifth, Parcells in 2nd, Atlas Copo in 7th, Key in 8th, Lord Hulton in 9th, Daniil in 10th, back to Viking in 11th, and Conti in 12th, of course. If you're just tuning in, Jeffrey out of the race early after contact, and hopefully the guys out on track are going to deliver some clean and fair racing for you guys. And of course, Key has already been into the pits as well. He spun early on in the race, which was unfortunate, I think, from Key's perspective, from the Brits' perspective. But the McLaren, hopefully, going to try and gain himself through the field towards the end of the race. So Mashiro once again coming through the final corner. In fact, the front two are in. So Mashiro into the pits, Storm into the pits as well. None of them breaking up like Lewis Hamilton did in 2008, I think it was, when he went into the pit wall. And of course, there was gravel back in those days. And he got beached and he was out of the race. Maximus then leads the way now out on track. He was gaining on these two, Storm and Mashiro, before they came into the pits respectively. Of course, they're going on for some medium compound of tyres. And Maximus, a little bit of snap of oversteer there coming out of turn 4, just coming through turn 5 now. There is Charlie in second, Passel's in third, Atlas Corpo in fourth. We're going board though with a bit of a battle that is developing up, and is between Daniil and Lord Hulton out on track. Daniil, of course, pitted early as a result of contact with Conti and back to Viking. He was caught up in that melee. Daniil right on the back then of Lord Hulton. as he now comes down towards turn 1 once again and dips through towards turn 2 and then through turn 3 once again. And as I say, the action out on track has been nothing short of dramatic, if I've got to be honest, but it is Maximus who leads the way from Charlie in second, with in third Pasels, Atlas Coppo in fourth, then Mashiro in fifth. As I begin to lose my voice, which is not great at all. Unfortunately, I do have to lose my voice, but hey, what can you do? Storm in sixth, Mace in seventh, of course. Let's have a look then at the position changes actually that have happened so far. And those are the position changes. The ones that haven't pitted yet have getting the most positions. Everyone else has pretty much lost positions out on track. Probably half the field split either way there, to be honest. But currently, out on track, it is Maximus who leads the way from Charlie in second. Daniel just coming through as Mashiro catches Atlas Coppo. Now through the final corner goes Atlas Coppo. Maximus on to set a medium Commentators. Be interesting to see where he comes out of the pit. He's coming out of the pits just behind Storm, I think he will. Maximus out behind Storm by about 2.5 seconds, I would say there. As look at Mashiro trying to force his way through on Atlas Coppo. He's just going to sit tight and wait for the move to come to him. Doesn't want to be rushing over into anything else. But Mashiro right on the back, and the Japanese man switches to the inside line on Atlas Coppo. Down the inside, he hasn't got the car stopped. Atlas Coppo will switch it back, and the Alfa Romeo will be side by side then through the S section. This is going to be great action as Mashiro lags slightly. He's down the inside line, and Atlas Coppo lets him have that one. And Mashiro is through to the lead of the race. Good respect there between both of them. And the Japanese man, the winner in Australia last time around, of course, just about half an hour ago if that. Mashiro takes the lead of the race. Storm then on the back of Atlas Coppo, giving Atlas Coppo something to think about here, down into the second sector again, coming through in towards turn 11. And Stormman on the back coming through, and it's a phenomenal race so far out on track, and a very, very great race so far. Storm is down the inside line through the hairpin. He says thank you very much for that one. Atlas Coppo will come back into the slipstream. They'll try and fight it back with the pace, but he's not going to get the pace down the straight. As Storm opens up that DRS and just floors it by. So Atlas Coppo down into third position. He's still yet to come into the pits, actually, Atlas. I think he should pit in now. Maybe respond to some of the guys that have pitted in behind. He will be coming into the pits next lap around, maybe. But halfway through here in China, it's Mashiro who leads from Storm in second. So the front two now separated by 2.4 seconds, currently out on track. As in third is Atlas Coppo with Maximus in fourth. Mays then in fifth. Driving well so far, with Charlie in sixth, Pasels in seventh. Key as a result of that early mistake down in eighth position. He will be up into seventh position though when Atlas Coppo comes into the pits, of course. Daniil and Lord Holton fighting out for 9th and 10th. Max Wacky in 11th, and Conti currently in that 12th position out on track. Of course, do put in your thoughts on what you have thought of the Challenge Cup here tonight. If you are wanting to support any of your favourite drivers, of course, out on track here, then do put that in the comment section. It's not too late to get involved, of course, here on TTTV, as Atlas Coppo now is under sustained pressure from Maximus, and I fear that he should have came into the pits a lap earlier. It definitely seems to me that now Maximus is right on the back of Atlas Coppo. Atlas Coppo will be under very sustained pressure, currently out on track, as they now come round in towards the final couple of corners. Again, Maximus then switches to the inside line, and you'll see Atlas Coppo just fly on by, and there is Maximus through with the P3. Literally like an aircraft taking off there. Maximus getting up from 0 to 100 basically, and back to 0 again, down into the hairpin, getting the move done. Maximus easy as you like on Atlas Coppo, and Key trying to fight past Pasels as Mashiro sets the new fastest lap of the race. It's a 1:34.8 for Mashiro. Atlas Coppo still not into the pitch yet. Pasels then around the final corner, and Key actually running wide there as well. Got to be careful right running right at the final corner, because you can pick up an invalid you can pick up a 3-second time penalty. You can also pick them in invalidation, of course, if you're in qualifying, as Key tries to launch it down the inside through turn 4 and then up towards turn 5 again. Key fighting Parcells hard here. 7th and 8th currently out on track. Key looking the quicker out of the two, I've got to be honest, and it's only a matter of time really, with Key trying to get past on Parcells, but Key right on the back of Parcells, now coming through towards the end of the middle sector. Key taking a wide about line through 9 and 10. Double left-handers, of course, those two, and Parcells now under sustained pressure. Let's get into the mindset then of Key as he tries to overtake Parcells here. Just gets caught on the inside curb. Falls it through on the inside now onto the hairpin. Parcells will be running wide on the camber of the corner. Could run wide onto the on the AstroTurf, which he doesn't, and over the curb as Key now switches to the inside line, and it's going to be very similar to what we saw last time around. Parcells will just go flying on backwards because Key, I think, is going to get this move done, or is he? Because Parcells is still there. Parcells with extraordinary straight line speed, trying to get the move done around the outside. Not going to be quite close enough, and Key completes that move, and he's up into 7th position. Now this couple still yet to come into the pits as well, so that'll be up in at him up into a net 6th. Currently out on track as Parcells once again tries to chase down Key, and surely not around the outside of turn 1. Parcells will be very bold if he pulls this off. He'll try and switch it to the inside of turn 2, but Key has got the inside line. I don't think Parcells were going to manage it around the outside there. He was going to be hanging off the camber of the corner at every single cost there, but Parcells still hunting around on Key, and Key, once he's got ahead, just looks a little bit vulnerable, if I've got to be honest, too. Parcells in behind, and maybe they're just beginning to get a little bit closer. They're just beginning to drop off slightly on Charlie. It's 3.4 seconds, the gap between Charlie and Key at this stage of the race. Back to Viking has gone off into the gravel there through turn 3. I think he might have just feathered the throttle a little bit too much there. And back to Viking then has dropped to 11th position, to 12th position as Conti has gone through. There is the leader, by the way.